Hi everyone, in this video I want to talk about the topic of spiritual awareness and also talk about when people are beginning to awaken that they need to tune in a little bit more into spirituality. Most people don't realize, but our daily actions on earth also actually determine our spirituality, because spiritual experience is not simply an experience that is just something you find in life by consciously just tuning into spiritual practices. And I'm going to link a video which does talk about how to consciously tune into your spiritual practices or increasing your spiritual awareness. But those practices are not also simply about awareness, but about understanding balance, realigning ourselves to our life purpose on earth, and creating a balance of between spiritual life as well as practical life. So those who consciously start doing these practices mentioned in this video are essentially consciously possibly missing in their daily life the practices necessary to tune into their higher purpose of earthly existence, or get a better self-awareness about their own life path journey on earth. That's when you start consciously doing this. But there's other segment of population who are actually also spiritually aware or doing practices related to spiritual awareness, but in them it is already a inherent thing present in how they do things in life. So even if they are not sitting and consciously focusing on these spiritual practices, doesn't mean that those people aren't spiritual. They are spiritual, but they are spiritual by the essence of their beingness on earth. So that's why when people start getting into spirituality or someone starts talking about spirituality, sometimes people hold this mistaken perception that spirituality is about just maybe going to a prayer meeting, going to a satsang, going to a church gathering, going to a mass in a mass prayer session inside a mosque or some place of worship. But while that is one element of spirituality, those who do not go to a temple, do not go to a mosque, are not religious at all. Those people can also be spiritual by simply practicing normal things in their daily life that attunes them to their spirituality by the essence of their being, not by them consciously practicing something, but them just being something even at a very subconscious level, which is aligning them with their higher purpose of existence on earth. And this understanding and balance, if we start inculcating, or if we didn't have inside of us at a subconscious level, or even if we do have it in us, we don't realize that subconsciously there are many practices we are doing that, or we are being, that attunes us to our spirituality. When you start awakening, you will also start understanding this, that what elements of your own personality is already being and doing something spiritual, and what elements of your personality needs to become a little bit more spiritual, or more spiritually aware, or more even practically aware as a human, for understanding our correlation with other planetary creatures, other human beings in our life that we interact with daily in our personal life, social life, professional life, community life. Or if someone is like an environmentalist, how deeply should you be attuned to nature? These kind of practices will start emerging inside of you when you consciously start practicing some additional spiritual things than what you already are doing. So when people get into spirituality, sometimes they find it like a very challenging task, thinking that what is being taught about spirituality is something they have to practice in their life at a level that they feel they are not ready to practice. but when the reality is, spiritual practices tune you more to the things that you're already doing really well, and tune you more to the things that need improvement or change or shifting in your, or realigning or balancing in your life. And this video talks about the basic entry level spiritual practices, or beginning stages of inculcating spiritual practices in our life if we never contemplated too deeply about how to be spiritual or how to tune into our spiritual awareness. But while this video mentions all the basic stages, I want to explore that basic stage into a little bit further stage for those who are already practicing these basic stages, and if not all 5 stages, who have already started practicing at least 3-4 of these stage phases mentioned in this video. For anyone who is beginning to start increasing their spiritual awareness, for them, just when you are beginning these practices, it would be helpful that if you don't want to overwhelm yourself, don't pick up all 5 practices if you have never done any of these practices, or if inculcation of these practices are very rare in your life. At that time, it would be better to start with the first practice it for a month or two or a few months, and when you are comfortable practicing that for a few months at a easy flow level, that is when go into introducing the second practice in your life. And you will automatically also, if you look at the video and while I'm speaking also, you will see one practice will slowly transition and lead to the other, and then slowly transition and lead to the other, if you start becoming more and more spiritually attuned in your life. And some of these practices, you will also see that sometimes you have been practicing it, but subconsciously, or in a way where maybe you're not writing it, journaling it, deeply contemplating on it, but it is already a practice that is partly present in your life as a normal life experience for you already. So if some of these are already there as a normal part of your life experience, then all you need to do is, if you're already practicing 2 of these, add a third one now and practice that for a few months before adding the fourth one and the fifth one. And then after you've already mastered them over a period of year or two, then slowly get into the deeper levels that I am exploring here in this video, or people who have already mastered all these 5 stages. For them, this deeper balancing, realigning, understanding of their life purpose might need to start happening, or might have already happened a little bit in their life, but they might be in that middle zone where they are a little confused or unaware about where to take this practice after having done these 5 steps. So and I hope this video would be insightful for those who want a deeper level understanding of these 5 experiences. So in the first thing that this video talks about, to increase our spiritual awareness, if we do deep breathing exercises, it enhances our connection to our own self. People don't realize it, but all of us do breathing, right? But when we do normal breathing, we are doing it very subconsciously, and because we are doing it subconsciously, our body is just breathing on its own without us getting tuned into our body. But if you do deep breathing exercises, or you start practicing them at a daily level, then what starts happening is you start deeply getting attuned to your body's responses, and you also start deeply becoming tuned into your body's needs as well. So when you're initially doing a deep breathing exercise, you're only developing a awareness of your breath, that your breath is coming in, that when you're holding your breath, what is happening in your lungs, or you will start feeling, either if you're holding your breath and your lungs are not in good health, you may start feeling agitation about how long should you hold your breath. When you're exhaling out, again, if exercise tells you to exhale out while inhaling in, some deep breathing exercises, if you see tutorials of that, you will see some exercises will tell you to breathe in for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 5 seconds and then release for 7 seconds. But when you're holding your breath longer than the deep breath you took in, and at that time if you are having some distress and physically something is wrong with your body, you will understand that with the distress that is arising in your body. If you are breathing out and you're meant to breathe out for 7 seconds, but you're not able to hold your breath out for 7 seconds, that also indicates sometimes some problems related to your respiratory system, cardiovascular systems functioning, which will result in these challenges to your breath. So what is the deeper awareness, the practical awareness along with the spiritual awareness you develop when you are doing deep breathing exercises is that while in ideal healthy conditions of existence of your body, or when you are only mildly sick, a deep breathing exercise is something you can very easily do. But when you are moderately level sick or high level severely sick, that same deep breathing exercises will attune you more, and the more you practice the exercise, more attuned you can become as to how well your body is functioning. So the deeper you do these deep breathing exercises, the longer you have developed the art of practicing these exercises, you will also sometimes the deep breathing exercise will also help you in clearing out very minor level health impacting things from your lungs. Because if you do certain deep breathing exercises, some of them have these expiration stages where you have to exhale forcefully out from your belly. So when you are forcefully exhaling out from your belly, that is a deep breathing exercise that is meant to clear your lungs from some junk or gunk or microbes that have been inhaled by you or accumulated a little in your lungs or respiratory organs. At that time, if you do these deep belly exercises, it helps in clearing some of the gunk and junk accumulating in our respiratory system, cardiovascular system, circulatory system, and especially in the lung and cardiovascular area. So that is also a deep breathing exercise, but that is a deep breathing plus a physiotherapy or yoga based exercise. So once you have inculcated, if you just do a deep breathing exercise to gain awareness of yourself, at a time it is a spiritual practice of becoming attuned to your body and becoming attuned to just the simple human process of us breathing and existing as a life form on earth. That is the first level. But if breathing exercises can be taken into a little bit further forms of exercises, you gain the more physical health related awareness to the practical elements related to breathing too. You start gaining that awareness. Secondly, you also, when you are doing deep breathing exercises for a while, you will also know what is the time when you shouldn't be doing deep breathing exercises. For example, in India during Diwali time, there is a lot of smoke around in our atmosphere because of all the Diwali activities that is going on. And while people consider the earth pollution and air pollution that happens during Diwali time, the major culprit is us bursting smoky firecrackers. But it's not simply the smoky firecrackers that adds to the earth pollution. It might be the quality of oil we use for cooking our food, the quality of oil we use for burning our oil lamps, during festival time, if you're cooking hurriedly for a large group of people, and while hurriedly cooking you end up burning some of the ingredients, or the quality of food ingredients that you're using for cooking is not high quality. Because when demand is high, what starts happening is festival time the demand for food is high, because everyone wants to cook a lot of special dishes for their family and or order dishes for their family. But when the demand for food is high, at that time even poor quality food will be sold in the market. Poor quality things will also have a demand, because people just want something to cook, people want something to gift to others. So everything, high quality or low quality, both ends up being in demand. And at a time, because some low quality products are there in the market, especially in countries, poor countries or poverty stricken places of the world, the poor quality material starts penetrating those markets more. So because of which you will end up having then this experience of adding to earth pollution, because if you are cooking a poor quality food, eating a poor quality food, all of this also eventually adds to earth pollution related different elements, which I have mentioned in some of my earth pollution related videos. But if you are starting to become aware about your existence on earth, you will also start becoming aware while doing just a simple deep breathing exercise, when air pollution is high and when you shouldn't actually be taking a deep breath. This is also practically actually was seen, but people or scientists or doctors didn't realize this about COVID. But there was a research article that was done during about COVID patients, which showed that women with anemia, where they are not able to transport a lot of oxygen in their blood because they are anemic, and people who smoke, both these population groups seem to have a less incidence of hospitalization during COVID times. So why did that happen, where people assumed, or doctors are assuming, that the reason why these people who are smoking or people who are women, they are not hospitalized, means that they are not sick. But actually the reality is they might have been sick as another COVID patient. They could have had, let's say, a moderate level COVID infection or even a high level COVID infection at home. But if you are a smoker, what has happened to your lungs? Your lungs are already knowing how to operate in less optimal capacity. And if you have seen those tobacco smoke warning videos online or during a movie theater screening, what do you see that in some of these videos they show, right, this amount of gunk and junk that has accumulated in our lungs when someone is a heavy chain smoker. So that gunk and junk of tarry material that is accumulating in the lungs of a smoker, now what is happening is, firstly, they are at a suboptimal respiratory level, suboptimal cardiovascular systems operational level, or in fact their cardiovascular system might be at a heightened level of functioning, because when the lung is doing a poor function, the compensation comes from your cardiovascular system. So those people who are smoking might have a good cardiovascular system, or a more active cardiovascular system, which is pumping more heavily than a normal person's. Their heart rate might be high, they might be pumping more, so that the right amount of oxygen can be transported to the rest of the body, right amount of carbon dioxide and gunk can be expelled from their lungs, a lung which is already little bit wrecked by the gunky material that is accumulating in their lungs or respiratory tract. But this gunky material also serves a purpose, that when I'm inhaling, let's say, some coronavirus particles while I'm out there in public or at home, wherever, let's say two people in my home are also sick, so I have inhaled a little bit of it subconsciously, right? So at that time, whatever was inhaled in that person who is a smoker, now because their lungs are now tarry, gunk is there, inside that gunk the virus can get trapped, and that's why possibly the virus is not getting transported. So in that way also a smoker might end up having a better health outcome. That's why even though they are not able to actually breathe as deeply as a normal human being or breathe as well as a normal human being. Same way, a housewife who is anemic, whose blood already circulatory system doesn't distribute enough oxygen to the body, so like their capacity to distribute oxygen is slightly less than a average healthy woman's or a average healthy man's, whose body is distributing a lot of oxygen. So now that her body already knows how to function with lower quantity of oxygen, when a virus attacked that woman also, same thing likely happened, that she knew how to work with lower amounts of oxygen. And because the woman knows how to, her body is knowing, our body is very intuitively arranged in a way that it will intuitively sometimes work around a disease. So even her body is working around the disease of having lower oxygen flow inside different organs. And because her body has started working around it for a while, those women who might have had COVID, moderate level or even high level COVID, if they have been working around their disease or managing their disease, doing some, let's say, home remedies or breathing exercises at home, or something that already compensates for the fact that they have low oxygen flow in the body, again those women either didn't get admitted to the hospital when they did have symptoms of COVID, because they were not showing that symptoms of distress that other people would show if they had normal levels of blood flow. So because if my body functions at a normal level, and there's 100% perfusion always in my body during coronavirus time, if now from 100% perfusion the virus has impacted my functions in such a way that there's only 80% perfusion at a time, obviously because the SpO2 has fallen, I am now not able to breathe distribute oxygen to rest of my body in the right way. And because I'm not able to distribute it in the right way, I'm falling sick, my body is showing symptoms of sickness, and immediately I can be admitted. But here is where people who don't understand deep breathing inside them or outside in another human being do not fail to understand. That's why that sometimes women had distress, but their body is not going to show that extreme distress because their body was already in a low oxygen capacity mode for a long time. So while they are actually having a disease progressing in their body, but because people are assuming everyone has a normal life when they are seeing a patient, many a times those patients who did have coronavirus infection going on or some other coronavirus plus other health challenges going on related to respiratory tract, cardiovascular symptoms or circulatory system functions related symptoms, they didn't get admitted because they were not showing the extreme distress of the people who, when normal, had now had a drastic change in their normal functional. Whereas for a person already existing with an anemia, their body will not show a drastic change because for years their body has adjusted to the lower oxygen levels. So their distress, even though they might be actually severely impacted with COVID, a severely impacted anemic patient might end up showing a moderate level anemia, or a moderate level COVID patient might end up showing symptoms similar to a mild level COVID patient, simply because their body was already used to the lower oxygen capacity of in their body, access to low oxygen in their body. So this awareness, this is a practical awareness which came to me. Why? Because I was doing deep breathing exercises. I was understanding also I had a phase of very much intense breathing related problems. But every time I was going to the hospital or ER to get checked for it, they were ignoring my symptoms. They were not understanding that I was literally sometimes in a very heightened state of physical distress, but they were ignoring my because my body is used to a little bit lower level of something. That's why the extreme distress that I was going through was masking my was in the report of the doctor showing up as a moderate level distress, and then they were ignoring the moderate level distress, thinking that women are more prone to be anxious, or that's why they were ignoring my heightened heart rate, whereas that heightened heart rate was a major symptom for me, because I was someone who used to exercise a lot. I was someone who had extremely good lung functions earlier, or if not extremely good, I had moderately good lung functions. I had moderately good cardiovascular functions, but all those moderately good cardiovascular or respiratory functions, which allowed me to work out for in the gym for 1 hour, or go out for 2 hour walks, all of those functions had reduced to such a drastic level that I couldn't even go for a 5 minute or 10-minute walk. But and I knew my breath was completely ruined. But when doctors are only looking at physical parameters and not tuning into the other parameters other than just the extreme distress of a physical symptom being shown by a machine, that's when they can end up also missing those patients who have some problems going on. And also someone who is doing deep breathing exercises, someone who is doing spiritual practices, someone who already knows how to balance and align their body according to the threat their body is experiencing, again that person will also show less physically obvious symptoms detectable by a machine. Their symptoms will be in their blood reports and my blood reports did show all the interior symptoms of why I was having a particular health issue. But if you do not have a right interpreter, then also, while your spiritual awareness and practical awareness might be high, if the other person's spiritual and practical awareness of their job isn't high, they will not be able to distinguish between or if they are immature at their practice, they will not understand the deeper repercussions of when a deep breath is distressful breath, when a deep breath can also indicate when someone is in distress, even if their blood pressure is not showing any problems, their SpO2 is not showing any problems, their heart rate is showing only milder problems, and you're assuming that that's why this person is probably only mildly sick, when in fact they were majorly sick. So that's why also, if you inculcate spiritual practices in your practice related to simply breathing exercises or deep breath, you can become more capable of understanding the problem related to breathing, not just inside your body but inside the body of anyone you are treating. If you are a healthcare professional who is meant to work in the healthcare field as a doctor, nurse, or physiotherapist, or respiratory therapist, or a technician who is checking a patient, any of them, or a ER doctor who is seeing emergency patient, or a doctor who is a trauma surgeon, or anyone can understand their profession even more deeply when you become spiritually aware and tuned in first to your own body and then tuned into the responses in another human being. I hope this made sense. And also realize during polluted environmental conditions in your city or village, during polluted home environments where some home pollution might be impacting the air quality inside your homes or inside your offices, all of these times when you're doing a deep breathing exercise and it is not calming you, or it is in fact your body is rejecting you to do that exercise, the reason why your body might be rejecting doing an exercise you might have practiced for a while, it could be in the fact that there could be maybe mold in your home, fungus in your office, there could be air pollutants in your outside road conditions, all of which could be preventing you from also doing a deep breathing exercise if the deep breathing exercise would be more harmful for you. Now, I've already spent 20 minutes or 15 minutes at least discussing this first exercise. Now, to understand the second exercise, which is communing with nature, I think communing with nature is something most of us actually tend to do consciously or subconsciously in our lives, which is the reason why you will see during holiday times, vacation times, or vacation trips with family, there are so many families who tend to enjoy going and living in a national park or national reserve, or going and seeing wildlife in some wildlife related area. All these things people tend to do as a activity when their soul is awakening to the importance of communing with nature. And while communing with nature in this video was experienced and expressed as a thing where nature doesn't demand anything of us, again that is true in a way that if you are going to a national park and you're just sitting and watching the stars don't demand us do something for me. Or if you're sitting and watching wildlife in a national forest, those animals also don't speak to us that take care of me, or the birds and the trees are not telling us that take care of me. But a deeper communing with nature will also cause a human being to eventually understand that while animals and birds and nature will not tell us that you need to take care of us, unless you are very deeply tuned into them, they subconsciously will still expect. There is a subconscious thing and a hidden code of conduct and ethics we have to follow as humans on earth. That hidden code of conduct and ethics is we have to take care of all planetary creatures on earth, irrespective of whether they ask us to take care of them. So for example, and that is where true communing with nature happens. The first level of communing with nature is you go and sit in nature and you feel relaxed because of the greenery, because of the oxygen you are getting from the trees, because of the cute antics of the animals and birds in the forest, because you love watching a different planetary creature do their normal activities in a national forest or national park or even in a zoo, or because you're just simply watching the stars and the planetary system above us. Whatever you're doing, or someone could be just simply communing with nature by walking in their local parks and gardens in their society or near their city or village area, right? So these are all the places we can be communing with nature. Someone could also be communing with nature if they enjoy swimming. You could go swimming in a pond or swimming in a river, and that would also enable you to commune with nature. But what is the hidden law? The hidden law is humans have to take care of nature. So it is not actually simply a one directional thing that I go in nature and I'll be able to relax in nature simply because nature gives it to us freely. It is true, nature is in a way giving everything to us freely. All the oxygen that we get from a plant is a free oxygen that the plant is providing to all humans and planetary creatures who need oxygen for breathing. But the other converse side of the equation is, can I get good quality oxygen from a plant if I have been ruining its air, water, soil quality, and by human activities, by activities which I thought might have been protective for the plant but wasn't actually protective for the plant, and because of which I have added to the pain of a plant by feeding it or spraying on it chemicals that were actually harmful for its breathing, harmful for its normal functioning, harmful for its cardiovascular or circulatory system function. It doesn't have a tree doesn't have a heart, but it does have a circulatory system which helps in drawing nutrients from the soil and giving the nutrients to the rest of the tree. It does have a circulatory system which transports the water from different parts of the tree. It also has a system where it inhales carbon dioxide and breathes out oxygen for us in the daytime. So this photosynthesis activity that it does, where it is converting carbon dioxide to oxygen for us, that activity it can't do properly if, let's say, you're spraying and coating the leaves of the tree with some harmful chemicals that will impact its breathing capacity, impact its circulatory system's functioning capacity. So this is how, if you are really truly communing with nature, that person who's truly communing with nature will also start understanding when nature is being harmed. So in the past, in India, there were some tribes in certain parts of India who initiated the Chipko movement because their trees were being cut for some different purposes at that time, like maybe for construction purposes, or just clearing of forests were happening because human wanted more land for development of land. So whatever was going on, they were actually, those tribals of those areas were actually communing with nature at a deeper level, even if they were not doing it as an exercise practice, and by doing that true communing with nature, they understood that if they end up killing the trees in their national forest which was there in that area, they will end up killing a very essential element of human existence, which needs us to have plants and greenery so that we can breathe oxygen and live a normal balanced life. So that's why in true communing with nature, you will start understanding, like the more you start doing these increased spiritual awareness practices, you will start understanding where we are going wrong with harming plants, harming birds, harming animals, harming other ecosystem in the ocean or mountains or forest areas or deserts. Anywhere in the world where a particular ecosystem exists, our human activities could have, and has actually, not could have, but that is the reason why species of certain plants and animals start going extinct, and that extinction is happening because our instinct related to what is going wrong with human activities that are causing their extinction, that instinct is dulled when we don't have a right communing with nature attitude, or when we don't have the balanced spiritual awareness about our purpose of existence on earth with so many other planetary creatures. But when you do develop a higher level of spiritual awareness, you also develop higher level of awareness related to your earthly responsibilities as a human on earth, coexisting with other planetary creatures of birds, animals, whales, fishes, different life forms. Even insects and bugs, you will start understanding the place and importance of each planetary creature that exists on earth. And there is another element of communing with nature. Those people who do not get the luxury, let's say you are a worker who is always entrenched in 12 hours of work for your company. At that time, those people who are workaholics, they're not communing with nature in a very direct way. They're not able to go for vacations, they're not able to go, and they're not taking the time to relax by going out in the park of their office or going out in the garden of their society. They're not doing that activity, right? But even then, you can have the capacity to commune with nature. How? If you do end up growing some plants in your home, if you start raising pets in your home, or feeding some stray animals and cats or dogs or something in your neighborhood, if you are giving not just communing with even if you don't take care of a plant or an animal, but let's say you are communicating very well or at a deeper level with your family, with your co-workers, with the people you meet on the train while you're traveling from work to home and home to work, that is also communing with nature, because that is communing with your nature as a human interacting with another human, because another human is also part of nature. So how you communicate with other humans, how you correlate to other humans, how you bring balance in your communication with other humans, that is also communing with nature. Which brings people to the next practice automatically. If you start understanding the value of other humans, other planetary life forms, you also start developing something called self-awareness, which is the next practice. A self-awareness which can develop when you are meditate, when you are reflecting on how you behaved with other humans in your daily life, how other humans behaved with you, what kind of interactions are going on in your mind, what is the thought process you are engaging in when interacting with someone. Can you clean up your thought processes? In this developing self-awareness, watch some videos of BK Shivani. She speaks about this self-awareness related to our thought processes and communication with another human being in a very good level, balanced level, which is necessary for us if we want to develop and increase our self-awareness. not simply about us. While this video is talking about, and that's the first stage when you aren't we when we didn't when we live in very individualistic society or nuclear families or very competitive environments. At that time, people are not focused on anything more than just increasing their self-awareness and their self-improvement. But the deeper level of coexistence of us as a human being happens not when we are excellent at something, not when we are very individualistic oriented, or not when we are self-sufficient, but also the opposite of it is happening, where we are ready to become self-aware and understand that while I might be excellent in one field of work, there could be some other fields of work I do not know anything about, and I need to be humble and become self-aware that I do not know deeply about this field, but there is someone out there who might know better how to navigate this field, do this thing, and I should respect that person for understanding that field better than me. Or you can develop the self-awareness that I shouldn't be we are not meant to be a individualistic person when we are existing on a earth with 8 billion humans and other planetary creatures. Our purpose of existence, if I was supposed to be just completely individualistic, then which earth would I exist in? I would be more suited to exist on a earth where only 100 humans exist and there's a wide earth to explore, or only 1000 or 2000 humans exist and there are a lot of places for me to explore. Or if I want to become like someone who is very individualistic oriented, are who? Those NASA scientists who go out in the space. They know how to do many individual or independence oriented activities without seeking the help of multiple people in their daily functions. And that's why they are able to go and live in these space stations for months and or days, right? Well, and the people who are also stuck there also see the universe is teaching about the NASA scientist who's got stuck now in space. People, what is the experience that we are meant to learn from her being stuck in space is that while she is very independently capable of living in space for a long time with the facility that she has been provided, with the food that she's been provided, with all the individual specific characteristics that she has, which makes it okay for her to exist by herself in space with only 1 or 2 humans instead of billions of humans, right? While that is happening for her, is she and her team, are they all also developing this skill set of understanding that while even in space, if she has to come down on earth in a right way, her and her team can't come down on earth in a right way if a joint team effort between NASA and other groups of scientists from other countries, that joint collaborative work doesn't happen, she will not be able to come down. And if other scientists do not help her, they are not realizing that they are now setting the stage that if in future someday they are now trapped in space again, if NASA scientists were around, they might not be able to help them. So if in the first stages of distress of one person, other people who might be from a different country aren't able to help her, again you are losing the key core purpose of being human by not taking care of other humans in a way they need to be taken care of. And also she needs to also, her and her team needs to also understand that when stuck in space, I'm hoping that she's also understanding the deeper implications of how horrible it would be if we didn't have other human beings in our life who would care for us if we are stuck long term, longer than anticipated in a particular place, or how horrible it is to also not have large number of people to communicate with, not do the normal things we are able to do, that when on earth whatever that is normal on earth, I'm sure she and her team are missing all those normal activities, like simply, like she can't even comb her hair, or she can't even do the normal physical activities that we do on earth because of the gravity out there, right? So all these things, the counter of being independence is that we also understand the counter and balancing aspect to independence and excellence is we also understand the um, opposite of it, that we also experience that independence is not the only thing we are meant to learn in our earthly existence. We are meant to also learn interdependence with each other, and that value of interdependence, I'm sure she's also understanding how interdependent she is with her team living there, how interdependent they all should be for each other, because if even one of them ends up not being able to sustain long term in that longer than anticipated time and space, some of them could even be falling sick, and that realization also needs to happen when someone is falling sick in the space station, or someone's capacity to function while their body had enough energy and training to stay in space for a certain number of days. Their body likely will not have, not everyone's body will be the same level, and they will not have the capacity to handle the gravity and everything that they are doing there, because I don't know what NASA scientists do inside the space, but whatever they are meant to do inside the space station, those activities, optimal capacity of functioning will also drop down when you are doing something beyond your capacity to do that thing. And all of these also end up then showing us not just our excellence ability, but also the opposite of excellence, what happens to us when we are vulnerable, what happens to us when we need help, what we should be doing both at an individual level and realizing when we need help what we need to be doing, but also at a collective level of all humans and humanity, what we should be collectively doing as humans, seeing the distress of someone who is vulnerable, someone who is, even though maybe at intellectual level, the top level intellectual person, at a physical level, top level physical health status holding person, even then they have their vulnerabilities, and witnessing that vulnerability and developing self-awareness helps us also develop eventually the capacity to develop awareness about the vulnerability of others, about the challenges of others, create empathy about others, build better connections with others. Then this is the third practice. Then the fourth practice they talk about is the practice of inculcating meditation in our life. Now, while this person is stuck in the International Space Station or wherever she's stuck in, I don't know, but wherever she's stuck, if she's stuck there and her team is stuck there, they are not able to their functional capacity to do whatever they were meant to do. I have not seen the details of her case, so please forgive me. So I don't know how many days she has been stuck, but let's say she was only supposed to be there for 2 months and now it's 6 months. So in that 6 months time, whatever is happening with her or her team and her team, they are all now, if they collectively have this extra time, right, whatever work they were meant to do, that work is gone. So now they don't even except for just daily existence, they don't have any extra purpose related to their staying there, except praying for coming back on earth or getting the right intervention or resources to come back to earth. Now if no one intervenes and helps them at that time also, it could be a place where the reason why this opportunity has, or this mishap has happened, is for them to develop some extra skills related to how intuitively aware they are about resolving a problem that in their normal practices while going to the space station, you didn't know what extra innovative things you might have to do in order to fix this problem. So at that time, if you meditate not only helps you bring clarity, brings you peace. That can happen because you could get anxious, right? Like if you are only meant to be in a certain area for imagine us, don't you feel like a caged animal didn't people who had lockdown phases in India or China or all these countries where restrictive movements were there, didn't we feel very restricted in the first in the 1 or 2 years when COVID restrictions were around? And as soon as the restrictions went away, all of us decided, the travel increased, going and visiting our family increased, going and enjoying certain normal things that we used to do before the lockdowns and other COVID restrictions started increasing again. Why? Because our body was craving that past experience. So same way, and our body was feeling very anxious and caged during COVID. People who are working in law enforcement also saw increased incidences of domestic violence and abuse also increasing in people's lives, because the things that people were ignoring when they are just outside with and just busy doing their normal other life functions of going to work, hanging out with friends, socializing with family, all these things they weren't able to do much. Some of the socializing activities people were able to do, but many normalized activities people were not able to do. So which causes people to have, like how a habit can also be very drug like thing. So the habit that we have of, if you do not have a great marriage, but you have been able to ignore your marriage by being a workaholic or by socializing with your friends, that thing related to poor marriage will start showing up, right, when you are staying inside your home, or if you have had a very abusive upbringing with your parents. Again, that same thing that was abusive or neglectful, all those elements will show up when you're cooped up with your parents in the home. So that can lead to abuse. Mismatched marriage can lead to abuse. Partners who have started drifting from each other, but not ready to acknowledge that they are drifting from each other, they were also getting forced into seeing these aspects. So all of these are elements that increase your anxiety, increase your anger, also increase your need, or are kind of pushing people to go, and once the restrictions got moved, they wanted to again resume all the older activities. And there is a separate thing I want to talk about this, which I'll talk maybe in the next video. But just to come back to the self-awareness meditation practice, at this time, if you do meditation, or at a very stressful time of your life, if you start incorporating meditation, then what starts happening is you start gaining a better clarity about your purpose related to the challenging experience you're going through, purpose related to what maybe you need to heal. Like if you're having conflicts and you never resolve that you were having an abusive relationship in childhood, or never resolve that the neglect from your childhood has caused you to be neglectful towards yourself and your parents or other family, or there's something that you need to deeply contemplate on, reflect on, understand more closely, and only if you understand and acknowledge some problem zones, that is when you will be able to resolve it, right? So that's why you need the clarity, you need the understanding, you need the whatever experience you need that will start unfolding. So for these people stuck in the inside their space station, they also, if they now with the extra days they are now stuck there, if they start incorporating some meditation practices, if their team from Earth can send them some meditation related, good meditation related videos, if they've never meditated in the past, all of these can help these people firstly not feel as cooped up, not feel as conflict filled or challenge filled, not feel as distressed, as the distress level also might be rising, the anxiety levels could be rising, the depression levels could be rising within them, or the loneliness levels could be rising. So allowing them the communication with their family, communication with other showing them videos of other normalized activities on earth, or also allowing them the time to meditate would be helpful. Because in that meditation, not only can they attain peace, some of them will attain peace, some of them will relieve the loneliness or depression also a little bit more. Because along with meditation, the other thing that this video didn't mention, but prayer also helps. So prayer and meditation both are great ways to increase our attunement with other humans, increase our attunement with the life purpose of ours, and increase our attunement to understanding better how to solve the challenge we are facing. So some of them, if they start meditating, one might just become less depressed, one might become more connected to their family, one might become more in tune with the mechanical thing. If it was a mechanical failure, they might start getting insights from the universe about how to resolve their problem on their own. Or if they are even allowed, like if another person from a different space station can't go and help them directly, maybe speaking to other scientists from other countries can also, communicating with them will also possibly bring an insight that they will never get if they don't communicate and collaborate with other scientists. Like for example, I don't know how to explain this, but this is my personal experience from my life's challenges. I'm understanding, like when I was talking about COVID also, I understood the COVID problem a little more deeply than what most people actually understand about it. There are some scientists and doctors who are also beginning to understand the COVID problem, or other healthcare professionals who are understanding the COVID problem at a deeper level. Now those people who are understanding it at a much more deeper level, or on a greater level than what normally 99% of the population is understanding, means the person, the 10% or 1% or 2% who understand this problem a little bit more deeply, those people understand it deeply because eventually they are meant to collaborate with each other to fix the problem in the right way. Because even now long COVID problem exists, but you cannot fix the problem in the right way if you have a normalized understanding of the problem. Same way, when you are in distress, and COVID was a distress of the human health condition. Same way, when they are in distress in NASA about not understanding how to resolve the problem that has led them to stay stuck where they are stuck and not allowed them to come back on earth, it is some mechanical or other calculation failures or fuel related failures. All these are some possibilities I can think of. I do not know the case, so I have not studied it, I have not read about it, I'm speculating about it, so I could be completely wrong also. But whatever is the reason why they are stuck there, if they now hold discussions either with their colleagues in NASA, but I'm sure they have already held discussions with their colleagues in NASA in USA. Now they are meant to hold discussions not with colleagues in just USA's team, but possibly China's team, Russia's team, other countries' team who are also working in the same area. And even if there are not scientists who fly there, but if there are scientists who work in the ground team, there could be someone intelligent in the ground team of a country like India or China or Russia or any other country that has worked and experimented with space station related work. So they could also have a potential now to communicate with that person as well, to help in resolving the failure that has happened, which only via communication and collaborative way of thinking might bring out the right idea to resolve the problem. That individually maybe none of them can help resolve it, but it can only be resolved when collectively multiple people and the right person who understands deeply where the problem is will be able to, like some real top level expert of this area has to be consulted in order to resolve the problem meaningfully for this person. And right now there is the reason why this is an intuition from the universe. The reason why this went dark is because there is a right now shadow and dark experience associated with multiple levels that I already discussed, that I can see as a problem zone, why they are stuck there. And all of those reasons need to be resolved. The reasons of scientists when they go out in the PlayStation, in the space station. I don't know why I keep saying PlayStation. Maybe because I think this is again a guidance from the universe, that someone who may not even be working for NASA, but if they play a lot of video games related to space related stuff, and their wiring of the brain is attuned to understanding mechanical or whatever challenges they are facing, that level of IQ they have, maybe someone playing a PlayStation also may have a insight about how to fix this issue. So whatever is the shadow experience related to living in isolation for long months in a space station, isolation, depression, communication challenges, understanding problems, people of different personality types might be there, where while in your normal daily life you see someone for only 10 hours or 8 hours in your work shift, you do not observe their operational functional problems, but when living for longer than anticipated, and while you might have practiced living with them, cohabiting with them on earth for certain months of time, but when you have extended periods of time you have to stay with someone, that extended periods of time will also show up problem zones with communication with them, or other issues with them that will not show up if you had only stayed 2 months in the space station. So that deeper understanding that needs to develop about each other's personality might have a higher purpose. That's why also they might be in the dark there, or experiencing this darker experience. So I hope and this thing, in order to develop the practical and spiritual awareness of the experience they are having, and to learn also from the experience they are having, for any of us who don't work in NASA, who don't work directly with anything related to what is going on there, even for all of us, there is a spiritual lesson, spiritual awareness lesson that will emerge if you want to tune into that spiritual lesson that should emerge for us, which happens when we do deeper meditation, or if not meditation, if you're resistant to meditation, let's say you are a ADHD personality, so sitting still to do meditation is a problem for you, then doing prayer activities, chanting activities, that can also help you in similar ways that meditation helps you. And there are different meditation practitioners currently on earth, or teachers, some who can teach you how to raise your vibrations in the right way when you have a ADHD problem, or when you have a sitting still problem. Because if you're, I don't know whether they have any place where to be still because of the gravity of the place where they are at. So if they don't have a place where they can sit still, or sitting still has become a problem, because it can also be a circulatory system, cardiovascular system problem also, if you stay stuck in a particular place for longer than anticipated time than what your body has the capacity to sit still in. So all these, even health challenges might be something these people, not just a physical health challenge, mental health challenge, emotional health challenge, social health challenge, all of these might be showing up in their staying stuck in that place. So these are all elements also which need to be resolved, and not simply the NASA scientists who are stuck there need to do the meditation or prayers, but everyone involved in the project, everyone not even involved in the project but concerned about them, everyone needs to get jointly involved in these multiple levels, and at the level at which they can resolve the problem, solve the problem, or at least send the right energy towards those people, so that they can solve the problem in the right way, those who are directly involved in resolving the problem. Then the last one practice, spiritual awareness practice, is about having gratitude. And in gratitude also, when you initially start doing gratitude exercises, most people are grateful about what? Most of us are grateful about the positive things in life. So if you have good food, if you have good water, if you have good family life, if you have promotion going on in our work, if you're doing great with our work, if we have a good bonus we got during Diwali, all these things are places where people will usually in their gratitude journals write about what they are grateful for. But this video also talks about holding a gratitude for your challenges, because like with the NASA story or with all the other posts I have created in my this page and other page YouTube pages, where I'm speaking about the challenges we face in our life or the failures we have in our life, if we start reflecting deeply, if we start holding gratitude for even the challenging experience of our life, if you are praying and meditating, surrender the problem to the universe or a higher power, you will also start seeing the spiritual awareness is also of realizing what is my responsibility as an individual to solve this problem that I am going through, and what is a collective responsibility in solving the problem. Now some of these people who are stuck there in the space station, they might be the kind who are the leader kind, and when you are the leader kind, sometimes the leader takes too much of the responsibility of the whole mission. But what if it is not your responsibility to take too much of the responsibility of the whole mission? The leader who is there in the space station, as well as the leader who is the leader of the decision maker who was responsible for sending them there, both of them, or the leaders who are meant to collaborate with other countries, all of these people might be at a stage where they don't know how to release where their responsibility should rest, and where they have to let go of things that are beyond their power to work on. So this thing is also a important vulnerability practice, gratitude practice, or meditation practice, and self-awareness practice, because in deeper awareness about where our responsibility is, where the responsibility has to be shouldered now by multiple people, where the actual problem resolution might happen first when you acknowledge where the problems have gone wrong, where deeper reflection or analysis of problem areas were not done because no one anticipated being stuck for longer months than or days than where they would have been stuck. Their food also might be getting low. All these problems have possibly started happening now, right? So they could also need to collaborate with someone who can maybe send something via, like have you watched Hunger Games? In Hunger Games, when you are hungry, when they needed medicine, when they needed some supply, while other space stations around them may not be able to help them with the mechanical problem, can some space station or some other business who is not a governmental agency operating there also be ready to do some problem solving by sending them some food supply, sending them some medicine? In the Hunger Games, they get sent all these when people are viewing what is happening to the competent to the people competing in the Hunger Games. There are people with empathy, there are people with money who for whatever reasons they were also it was possibly for the reason of placing a bet there or for profit motives they were doing it, but whatever it was, there were people who gave them medicine when they needed medicine, who sent them extra food when they needed food, right? So same way, when these people need some medicine, need some food, someone could be sending them the actual medicine and food supply that is running low, that needs to be now sent to them. I don't know, I'm sure someone has sent it to them, but if they haven't sent it, or even those who were sending them some food supply, now their supply is running low, at that time someone who can send something from earth only has to do it. So all these collaborative activities or out of the box thinking, or different way of looking at a problem and moving away from the shadow of the experience and challenge of the experience can unfold only when we start holding gratitude for the challenging experience. Then only you can find the out of the box solution, then only you can find the solution that is the right solution to the challenge. If it is a very complex challenge, during complex challenges the right solution is even more necessary, the right layers of solutions are more necessary than simply a quick solution. So in this case, the reason why they are, the overarching reason why they're facing this challenge is there's multi-level challenges that anyone who is going to work in the International Space Station or work with satellites and other private or government activities out there in space, they all need to jointly do something to deeply think about the greater repercussions of what they are creating out there in space. So maybe some of them were also meant to learn what are the harms of staying longer in space, what is whatever, there is a multi set of reasons why they are stuck there, spiritual reasons, practical reasons, and long term operations based reasons and strategy based reasons and healthcare based reasons. All these reasons are the reason why they are stuck there for such a long time, and each of them can be resolved only in a step by step guided and in the best case scenario manner for each of the problems resolution, necessity, need, and while you resolve one problem, then the next can be resolved, then the next can be resolved, because there is a step by step reason their problem needs to be resolved. Otherwise and because why am I saying there's a step by step reason? Because right now, while everyone is focusing too much on, or many people are focusing on how to get them out of there, some people might not even have realized that while they don't get out of there, what you need to do also. So that's why I made this video, or I was guided to make this video, because some people have to also bring light or focus on the ancillary things, that what if they can't be brought down on earth that soon, what if it might take even some more time for them to resolve this issue, and until then what is the intervention that needs to happen to them about the other things related to physical health, emotional health, bringing peace and calm, bringing food and nutrition, or even possibly they might start experimenting with, can, if they have some seeds there, can they grow some of the seeds that they have taken, like if you've taken some nuts, can you grow some nuts there in the International Space Station and see what happens to a plant when it grows there, or things like that. So I hope this made sense, and if people have any questions, comments, insights, I would love to hear from you. And understand this, the more you deeply practice all these 5 practices is the way in which you deeply evolve also as a human, both at a practical level and at the interdependence level and collaborative level with other humans, and at a level of what is needed for your evolution at your particular time of existence on earth, or coexistence with people who are currently on earth. So I hope, and not just people, but also people and other planetary creatures on earth. So I hope this was insightful, and again, have a great day, and I hope the problem related to the problems I mentioned in this video can be resolved meaningfully and effectively in a right, balanced and aligned manner by people. Thank you very much. Have a great day.